Welcome to Wise Move, where we dive into real estate, real life, and real wisdom. I'm your host, Meredith Buckland, a top realtor in the greater Atlanta area with over 12 years of experience. I have had the privilege to help hundreds of clients navigate their moves successfully while gaining a wealth of wisdom along the way. As Einstein said, wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. So join me as I connect with clients, colleagues, and industry experts to discuss market trends, share valuable advice, along with real-life stories that can help make every move a wise move. Welcome back to Wise Move. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Derek Varnadoe. He is the Senior Vice President and Qualifying Broker for HomeSmart, my brokerage here in Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. And he has over 14 years of experience in the residential real estate, and he is really known, though, for developing agents into top-tier professionals. And so I want to welcome him here on the show. I think you will enjoy our session and time together. So, Derek, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be good. You're going to provide a wealth of information for agents out there who are looking for a great brokerage. And I want to start back at the beginning, Derek, because you've been in this a long time, over a decade.
Right.
What originally drew you into this business?
Oh my gosh. You may not know this, but I was actually in the printing industry, the graphic communications industry, before I got into real estate. And I'll be honest, I am generally a creative person and I still love the printing and communication industry. I was really bored. And one of the publications that I had the privilege to work on as a designer in my years in that industry were a lot of real estate publications. And I got to build connections with real estate agents. And it's funny, I feel like I knew the rules and regulations for Georgia in terms of advertising just as good then as now because I got so familiar with working with brokerages and agents. But really, that's what sparked my original interest in real estate. And long story short, was introduced to a local brokerage in the Savannah area who also had a school of real estate. Many brokerages, such as HomeSmart, have a school of real estate and they offer real estate classes. Went through the pre-licensing course, got my real estate license, and for the most part, never looked back. What I really love about this industry is not only is it building relationships, it's not just about the house, but you never have an opportunity to get bored. One thing I talk to agents about is every real estate transaction is unique. It's different, but there's still some common steps that we take along the way. But I love the fact that you never have a chance to get bored. So if you find yourself watching us and you feel a little bit stuck maybe in the career that you were in, I would encourage you to consider real estate because it is a lot of fun. And if you are committed to it and you're consistent, it's also very rewarding as well.
Yeah, I love that you use the words never bored. And as we'll talk about later today, the market shifts and changes are a great reason for why it's never boring. So it takes us where we sometimes don't want to go or other times unexpected twists and turns. We'll dive into that too. But so coming into this, it's fascinating to hear how different ones of us got started in the field. But you didn't just stay at agent level, you are now broker level. And tell me about that transition because it does require more education, more responsibility, and a little bit different approach in real estate. So can you share when you switched and decided to focus on being a broker?
No, absolutely. I did, as a salesperson, when I was originally licensed, worked with buyers and sellers out in the industry, as many of your viewers may. And I loved it. I really did. But I also was very interested in training and education. I really enjoyed helping other folks, other agents within my brokerage. And a position came available to work in the office with real estate agents, helping to essentially coach them. And I thought I really enjoy contracts, which a lot of agents aren't necessarily in love with the paperwork aspect of the business, but I really appreciated the technical aspect of it as well and felt that I had a gift for it. It seemed as though I did, and took a position in the office and decided with the encouragement of my team members to take the broker course in Georgia and obtain my Georgia broker's license. Did that and became a member of the broker team after that point and really started working with agents more one-on-one and teaching classes. And that's really where things just took off, so to speak. I have never looked back. I have at times thought about or flirted with the idea of assisting buyers and sellers out in the field again, but I stay pretty busy helping agents. As you mentioned, I am a broker in Florida and Tennessee as well. But even here in Georgia, we have over 3,000 agents with just our corporate office. That's not even including the franchisees. So I'm usually pretty busy helping agents and teaching classes and just enjoying that part of the business. It was a pretty smooth transition for me, I think, because I did have interest in the contracts and just really just helping other people and sharing the information that I had learned. So,
And I think that's so valuable. And you really do have to have that skill set, not only for that ability to passion for teaching others, but then in the details and the contracts. It's so interesting when we take the exam to become an agent, you think it's going to be all about the daily job.
right.
And it's not. It's a test on, are you paying attention to the details? And I remember when I went to that state level test, that 4-hour test, and the questions were asked in a paragraph, and then the answers were all in sentence form. And there was no guessing. You weren't going to guess. And there were just nuanced differences between. But really, I think that is designed and structured to see, are you good at the details? Because the contract is actually where things can be really quickly break down. And my first job with a brokerage, I worked for this gentleman, and he was really about the contracts. And so within that, he kept saying, read the contracts, study the contracts, learn the contracts. And that is so valuable because sometimes we see these reality shows and we think it's just about opening a door and dressing up glamorous and doing some social media win. But where the deals are really, where it comes down to is that agent that understands the contract and can help navigate. Because yes, like you said at the beginning, there are so many things that stay the same in each transaction. And certainly that transaction, that contract is one of them. And knowing where you can go back and protect them and the nuances of the language. So having someone like yourself who's a broker support, and they are deep into that contract, they understand where the protection is, and then they love to teach and mentor their agents is really setting us all up for success. And having that leadership is so valuable.
I oftentimes tell agents that it's oftentimes the agent that understands the contract and the patterns of negotiating the best that has the consumer that comes out on top, right?
Right.
And so it is very important to truly understand that part of it so that you can focus on the relationships and really have fun and you're not stressed out over the technicalities in some of the contracts. But as you mentioned with the broker exam, it used to be multiple choice, and then the state of Georgia went to what they call a simulation to make it more difficult as it wasn't already difficult enough. But as you mentioned, to truly evaluate, do you have the skill set to problem solve and really effectively be a broker in the state of Georgia? And interesting fact, last Wednesday, I taught my first broker CE course. You may be aware of this, but brokers, associate brokers, and qualifying brokers in the state of Georgia are required to complete 18 hours of CE every renewal term, which is every 4 years. So 18 of the 36 hours are required to be on broker CE courses. So that is a class that has criteria for the majority of which is prescribed by the state, so to speak. So there's certain things they want taught on. But it was an interesting class. We had a really good turnout. So I'm actually thrilled with the fact that Georgia does have a high level of expectation for brokers.
Yeah. And that a brokerage that truly is wanting to succeed is going to focus on having competent brokers who are well-versed in that contract. And then they just are teachable to the not only learning it, but then giving it out to their agents and making sure that their agents are all well educated within that Because there are times, like you said, we can understand the contract, learn the contract, but we're so into the kind of activity of that transaction that often we might need to call back to the broker and say, hey, this has come up. They've written something in such a way, or this situation, I think I have this right, but please, can you help guide me and make sure I do have this accurate, so that we're protecting our clients and you are protecting us as well as agents, so we don't lose our license or we don't get violations against us. So it's a very important job as a brokerage to have that set up in a way that helps all of us to succeed. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
And I think one of the benefits that we have at HomeSmart, for example, is because we do close a large number of transactions every year. Oftentimes, myself and other members of the broker team, we see things before other agents see them, right? So we oftentimes feel the next trend or the next wave of negotiating coming on just based on the volume of transactions that we do.
Yeah. So let's segue to HomeSmart.
Okay.
You are a broker at HomeSmart. I am an agent at HomeSmart. We maybe came different directions. I believe your roots might have been from Solid Source and
Right.
mine was from Palmer House. And now HomeSmart is growing so rapidly and we have merged together to form an even stronger brokerage.
Yeah.
So that's our journey in. But tell me, from your experience as a broker, what you love about HomeSmart, what it has provided for you and for us as agents.
I love that question. I believe with my whole heart that HomeSmart is the best brokerage in the country and in the state of Georgia. You truly cannot ask for a better, and take me out of this. I'm looking at the team, right? But a better broker team who is kind, they're professional, they support the agents 100%. One thing that Matt Widows, our founder and CEO, who founded HomeSmart 25 years ago. So this year we're celebrating our 25th year in the business, is that yes, we are a 100% commission brokerage, but we offer 110% support to our agents. And I do think that is sometimes a misconception that agents have, is that, oh, if I work for a brokerage that allows me to keep more of my hard-earned money, that I'm going to sacrifice on the support. And to be honest with you, that may very well be true for other brokerages out there, but thankfully it's not true for HomeSmart. Our marketing team, I just got back from Growth Summit, which is our annual conference. And this year it was out in Scottsdale, Arizona, and for the 25th anniversary. And we unveiled new branding. We have a brand new logo, new branding campaign. It is sharp. It looks amazing. Brand new president for HomeSmart, Stacy On, and had the opportunity to meet her. She's actually going to be in Georgia coming up here over the next couple of months. So those of you in the Atlanta area have the opportunity to meet her. I know you're going to love her. But just the best support, broker support, marketing, everything that you could look for in a brokerage, HomeSmart has. So I'm really proud to be a part of the company.
Yeah, I switched over from another brokerage previous, not Palmer House, but one before that. And I remember when I came over, there was quite a bit of discussion in the brokerage that I was transitioning from. And that was just a different setup. It wasn't a point where you could ever reach 100%, where you can now see back all of the money that you've earned. And the tools were limited that we had. And we had international fees, and we had this fee and that fee. And by the end of the year, I remember thinking when I would file my taxes, why did I even get up and go to work every day? Because there was no growth ability. It was negative. And I switched over, and very quickly I realized that all that I was saving, I also was getting this tool bag full of amazing systems and just processes and everything that I could incorporate into my marketing. And that really, I feel, helped me accelerate the growth that I had back then. When I switched over, I immediately saw that my business doubled, and I immediately saw that all the tools and access that I had doubled as well. And so from all of that, I could quickly see the big change that it was to come to a brokerage that we came to first in Palmer House, and then as it merged into HomeSmart, that it just was really going to set the trajectory for a very successful career because it was laying good groundwork in both the tools and the support, and then also what I was able to keep ultimately and put back into my business. Because if you get to the end of the year or you're struggling as an agent with another brokerage of what you're keeping, what you're making, and you're not able to invest back into your own business to continue to grow it, you're not going to be able to see the results that you need to see, and especially in a market like we have right now.
Absolutely.
So
I think of the
love
word
that.
powerful.
Yeah.
HomeSmart has powerful tools that really
Yeah.
support the agent in their success.
Yeah. I had one agent, not from our brokerage, who said, "Oh, HomeSmart, isn't that where agents go to die?" And I thought, I have no idea where they even got that concept, because HomeSmart is actually, I feel, has been on the cutting edge. And I felt that way even coming into it via Palmer House, that we were always looking for new, innovative ways to continue to grow the business and be supported as an agent. So I love the growth and I love the support that my journey has allowed me at HomeSmart. Derek, I want to ask you though. So you're there, you're juggling all of this and you're trying to balance compliance, growth, and culture and everything that you oversee as a brokerage operationally statewide here in Georgia and in Florida and Tennessee. How do you balance that? What is your secret to keeping it all together?
One bite at a time.
Yeah,
It's a really fun job. I
yeah,
love what I do. And again, I'm intrigued. In Georgia, for example, we update our contracts twice a year. So if maybe you're watching this and you're not in the state of Georgia, maybe you're thinking about getting your license here, the Georgia Association of Realtors, and big shout out to GAR. They are an incredible organization. Also, Florida Realtors, Tennessee Realtors, these state organizations really, they work so hard to protect consumers and to protect their agents. But in the state of Georgia, the Forms Committee makes annual revisions to the forms based on changes in the industry, based on feedback from other brokers and agents from across the state, and just having that interest in it. And again, you could possibly get bored if you love real estate. There's always something to learn. And I'll be the first person to tell you, just like I tell my agents and students, I do not know everything and I'll never know everything. No one will. But that's also, again, part of what keeps us coming back for more. But yeah, small bites at a time, learning, continuing to learn. I continue to take continuing education classes myself. I enjoy listening to podcasts and attending trainings, just you may, and it just really helps to keep me on top of everything that's going on. Reading monthly realtor magazines. If you are in Georgia, the Georgia Real Estate Commission publishes a newsletter every month. That's always very interesting because you can get some insight as to any issues they are seeing with agents and with consumers in the industry in the state of Georgia. So just keeping in tune with all of these resources help keep me on top of what's going on and talking with agents like yourself. In my position, I'm so privileged because I get to work with the best agents in the state of Georgia, and they reach out and talk to me about transactions. Sometimes it's a problem we have to work through, and sometimes it's just, hey, I have a success story I want you to know about because what I learned in this transaction or the formula that I used for success, so to speak, might be something that you can pass along that can help other people.
yeah, I love that. And I love your availability and also just desire to stay current in your field and relevant. You talked back at the beginning a little bit about you guys as brokers are usually on the front part of the waves of things that are coming down, whether it's in marketing or otherwise, but you're also on the front lines too to see some of the market changes. And certainly the impacts that we have had are impacted by political changes, economic changes, things out of our control. But you've seen many of those transitions and changes. Are you seeing anything currently coming up? And what has been your view on the market changes in general?
It's been so interesting because when you think back where we were a couple of years ago, right? We were in not just a seller's market, we were in an extreme seller's market where buyers were willing to take risks that in a typical market we would never recommend, but it was just a really tough market. Again, it was an extreme market. But the way I look at it is negotiating is making a comeback. And we are seeing changes every month. I love looking at the numbers, not because the numbers themselves are fun, but because the numbers tell a story. That's how I look at it. And every month we publish a monthly market report as a company. We share the data with our agents, and you can see little changes every month or every quarter, which is a good thing, right? I feel like if our industry had extreme changes every month, it wouldn't be a good investment for our consumers. But these little changes, we're seeing ourselves drift toward a more balanced market. And a lot of people feel like it's 6 months of inventory, that 6 months is a balanced market, for example. There are some folks that feel like it's closer to 4, and we're around 4.5 right now. Some communities and some cities in the Southeast or in the country are already at 6 months of inventory. So now's really a good time if you're an agent to get back into those contract classes, start tuning back in as interest rates are cut, even just a small interest rate adjustment. Some buyers who have been on the fence are jumping back in. So we are seeing sellers, because homes are sitting on the market for longer, that's no secret right now, we're seeing sellers more willing to contribute toward a buyer's closing costs. We're seeing sellers more willing to accept a sale contingency on a buyer's current home. And so that has been interesting to watch. But I think our market is on its way to a comeback as well. And I feel, and I know also talking with Matt out in Arizona and other industry leaders, we feel like it's going to come back with a vengeance. It's really going to come back strong. So any agents out there who maybe feel like not much is happening right now, get ready, be prepared, because when it comes back, you want to be ready to run.
Yeah. I was on a podcast the other day and they were asking me a little bit about my perspective of staying kind of in the game, or what happens when all these market shifts take place. Because almost every day as an agent, you really, in some ways, could wake up unemployed or uncompensated, and it could be for a period of time. And that does certainly impact the reason why some agents just don't make it in this long term. But I think my thoughts on all of that were, over the 12 years that I've been in, as really being resilient and then also adaptable. I came from the time frame when I didn't want to get rid of my BlackBerry, or I didn't want to move to the Mac, or I didn't want to. We get very comfortable and safe within what is working for us. But when things are out of our control and we don't have control of that, we need to learn how to adapt. So we have to figure out, what do I do right now? Like you said, good time to do education, get ramped up, get ready, and then be resilient. Make preparations that this is going to pass and this is going to change. The last 12 years, I've seen many different nuances and changes within all of that. And then sometimes it's like a personal journey. In the last year or so, I had my parents' health and other things that have maybe paused me from being able to aggressively be out there and be active. And you have to pull back at times to adapt to something else that is needed in your attention, which is the beauty of being in this industry, because you can do that and then you can pick back up. But within all of that, you do have to just learn how to be resilient and adaptable and ride through. And I do think we're going to see some great outcomes, because we've had so many buyers who, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and they have not been able to see that American dream because the cost of the house and what they're making is not complementary to each other, and it's out of their reach. And certainly anything that changes slightly that helps that, with a rate change or maybe sellers' expectations on what they can get on a home, all of that helps to give us back some balance and perspective to that.
Absolutely. And markets change, right?
Mhm.
And I think that as real estate professionals, if our focus is on being helpful, and that's really where the easier button for me is market reports for agents, but that market data is so valuable to buyers and sellers in every market, because maybe someone's not quite ready to buy, but they're interested in what homes are currently going for, setting those expectations right. Sellers, maybe it's a seller who isn't necessarily looking to list their home today, but who isn't interested in how much equity they've built in their home over the past couple of years. And so especially those folks who did buy before the extreme market, their values have increased dramatically.
Yeah. So we talked about your passion for education, which I resonate with, but I want to know so as you come to these agents, as you come to us as agents, or maybe a new agent, what is one skill or maybe mind shift that you think that every new agent needs to master early on? Is there something that you can point us to?
Communication is so important. And I feel like when I speak with agents about negotiating, and one of the questions I like to throw out at the beginning of the class is, what is it that you think makes someone a good negotiator?
Mhm.
And I got to give credit where credit is due. There's a book that is written by Seth Weissman and Catherine Oates, who I'm sure you're familiar with. They're some top attorneys in the state of Georgia. They teach classes and so forth. But they actually co-authored a book called The Done Deal. And this book is a practical book on negotiating for agents. And that's one of the questions they contemplate is, what makes someone a really good negotiator? And the answer is a variety of different things. There's not just one thing. And I think that sometimes agents will think they need to be incredibly tough to be a good negotiator. And really, the way that I look at it, we are in a very heavy customer service industry, and actually being friendly, looking at the other agent as an ally in that transaction is super helpful. Don't be afraid of questions, especially if you're a listing agent. If a buyer's agent has a lot of questions, that is fantastic. That gives you an opportunity to build a connection with the other agent, to address any concerns that they have, and hopefully make a deal work, because the goal for everybody is to get to the closing table, right? For the consumers and the agent. So embrace communicating. Don't be nervous about questions. And if you're a buyer's agent, please ask questions to the other party, because it's really getting along, communicating, understanding as well that not every negotiation is going to necessarily be a happy one, because for us, this is a business, right? But for the buyer and the seller, they are going to feel a lot of emotion. So just understanding, embracing that, and really embracing communication, I think, is a really good thing for agents.
I appreciate that so much, Derek. And I know you and I have both been in this industry about the same amount of time. And I think in the beginning, when I came into this, I don't know if it's just your concept of the negotiation, but there was the tendency to think, okay, I'm going to go in there and be really firm. And then all of a sudden, there's experience, and with experience comes knowledge and wisdom and all of that. You learn to become, or at least I am learning and trying to become a better, what I would call active listener. And that is a person who's really not just, I'm listening and then I'm waiting for you to stop talking so I can talk, but it's really listening to not just my client, but to that agent on the opposite side of the table, to their client too, because there's sometimes a roadblock and we need everyone to work together and to figure out how do we come together, because there's usually a common ground that we can find, right? They want to buy, they want to sell. We want to help our aides or clients, and all of us working together, if we can just stop and become active listeners of what is the real need here, where's the concern, and where can I alleviate some of this, then I have found that it has helped so many more roadblocks be removed, and we can come together in a good conclusion that we want, a safe conclusion for everyone. And so really learning that has been very key for even me. So what you're saying just resonates, because yes, I can affirm becoming a good listener and a good communicator is so vital to helping so many of these concerns and issues, and doing it with kindness. We can be professional, we can be polite, we can be firm, but we can do it with kindness and respect towards the other members. So I would reinforce exactly what you said to every agent, to try to make that a goal. And we all have to keep working on it. We sometimes have bad days. We don't always wake up in the best frame of mind. And that agent that is not working well within, this whole process can at one point just flip the switch on us, but we really need to stay focused as much as we can every day on growing towards that.
I
Couldn't agree
agree.
with you more. Yeah.
And giving each other a little bit of grace.
Mhm.
Every day is a new day, and it's not always going to be our best day. But also, our goal in the transaction, I feel like, is really a guide.
Yeah.
And I think remembering sometimes that it's the consumer's transaction. And when you make an offer for a buyer, even though you will certainly provide the information to the buyer and offer your opinion and advice, but ultimately, the decision that the parties make is their decision to make.
Mhm.
And that's where looking at the other agent more as your ally in
Mhm.
the transaction. And I am a big believer in asking the question why. I love to know why, even if the answer is no. Why is it no? Is it no for right now? Is it no? Oftentimes, understanding the why can give us a little more information to overcome whatever the objection is, or at least if it remains a no or whatnot, more information to give to the buyer so that they can accept that decision.
I think that's really smart because sometimes we don't do those follow-ups, right? We just accept the information, we become intimidated by it, or just, okay, that's the end of it. But taking that initiative that you mentioned to do that follow-up, even if it's just for our own education, but oftentimes it might spark that conversation to go a little further and to reveal more information. And quickly you can discover this is solvable. We can solve this, or maybe not today, but we can get there. And so I think that is very valuable if us as agents will take that into consideration to don't just stop with the first rejection or the first information, but say, why in this? What can be done to help in this, solve it? And sometimes there's not anything that can be done at that moment, but it at least gives you information for the next one or in the future on that.
Yeah.
Love that. I would love to know, Derek, because you walk in with now agents, you're getting them ready to become top tier producers. Do you have a favorite success story that you would love to share about maybe seeing an agent grow under your guidance?
Well, it only takes one transaction to really
Yeah.
get someone going.
Mhm.
And consistency is so important. And not so much a story, but more of a pattern of success that I will share with you is, especially if you're a newer agent, right? We know that consumers do business with agents they know, like, and trust. And don't be a secret agent. You really have to put yourself out there, but
Yeah.
you have to consistently put yourself out there. And if you feel like giving up, I really want to encourage you to just refocus on your goals while you got back into the business. Focus on being helpful to people. And when your business takes off, you're going to learn so much with every transaction that you do, of course. But be consistent with whatever you do. I want to encourage you to connect with other successful agents too, even such as yourself. I'm a big believer that people who are successful, they leave clues, right? And I want you to really be a sponge and just absorb and take everything in. Why is Meredith successful? What is it that she's done? Is that a pattern that I could emulate in my own way that could also help me be successful? Because there are a lot of different ways to be successful in this business, but there may be some key steps that other folks have done that you can emulate in your own business that I have a good feeling are going to work for you. But whatever path you pick, I think it's important to be consistent with it long enough to truly see what the benefit of that could be. But we've had so many agents who have started out, some when they're new, they will choose to join a team. And that can be a great move for a brand new agent for a number of reasons. They have the support of the team leader in addition to the broker team. Maybe it's a team that does provide leads for a newer agent that can be incredibly valuable, or a seasoned agent as well. But if not the team route, mentorship program can be very, very helpful. We at HomeSmart do have a mentorship program that allows a brand new agent to partner up with an agent who has experience in the business. And also meeting your brokers. Relationships, we tend to talk about it between the agent and the consumer. But I also want to encourage you, regardless of what brokerage that you work at, to really have that relationship with your broker team. When they think of you and your name, do they know who you are? Do they know what your specialty is, where you work? Because when they hear of opportunities, you want to be one of the people that they think of.
Yeah, that is so important for all of us and good reminders, right? Because even as agents who have been in it a long time, sometimes you can get set in your ways and I've just done business like this. I don't need anybody else. But we do need other people. We do best when we're continuing to learn and educate ourselves in our field. And we become then better teachers and better advocates for our clients. So when we stop growing, when we think we've got it all or we don't need anyone else, we're probably soon in the type of markets that we go through are going to experience then changes that we have not anticipated for and we're not prepared for, frankly. So I love that. I love that thought from you to keep the communication lines going, even within your brokers and to that peer-to-peer or that mentorship. We all need it and we can all use it at different times.
Absolutely. And agent to agent referrals.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Networking
goodness. Yeah.
with other agents,
Yeah.
agents in other parts of the country. If with us at HomeSmart, we're a national brokerage. So those opportunities, events like Growth Summit, or perhaps it's online events
Mhm.
that you can
Right.
attend as well. Building those connections with other agents can lead to referrals, which are fantastic for your business for sure.
Yeah. And I think it keeps us also going, oh, that's a great idea. I can implement that. I haven't been doing that. What are they doing to be successful or continue to be successful? And maybe it's just even about a client experience. Like, how are they, what are they doing and offering to their clients that maybe sets them apart? Or I can do that too. So those type of things, we're always picking up new ideas and keeping our business and our approach fresh and helpful to others. So I love all of these good nuggets and they kind of help all of us to be reminded of that every day. I want to know though, Derek, okay, so national conference, 25th year took place, HomeSmart rebranding looks amazing. I have wanted to rebranding for so long and I'm so proud of it. It looks sharp, strong, professional. Love all of that. But tell me now, okay, HomeSmart, where are we going in the future? And just kind of give us a forward look if you can.
I would love to. As Matt put it, the next 25 years, we are ready to move forward. We're stronger than ever. I truly believe that. I come back from Growth Summit just so energized. And I've been to other conferences, and I know you've been to lots, and I've been to other conferences that were great, but this was the best real estate conference I have ever attended. I was so impressed with the whole team. But the rebranding, just the focus on agent first, right? I feel like that is truly how we have grown over the past 25 years with our model. You don't sacrifice support to keep more of your hard-earned money, but just focusing on helping more agents who are helping consumers. And we are positioned ourselves, I feel like, as leaders in the industry, which we are. I've seen Matt Widows, Todd Sumney, just HomeSmart leadership on the cover of multiple magazines this year, on podcasts, just really getting out in the public and just spreading the word about HomeSmart. Because it's funny, even though we are a national brokerage, not everyone has heard of us. So we don't want to be the best kept secret in the business, as some people joke and tell us that we are. We want everybody to know how powerful our brokerage is, and maybe we would be a great brokerage for you. But we're really looking forward to continuing to grow, not only in the Georgia market, but also in states like Florida and Tennessee and just all across the Southeast for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And I love being a part of HomeSmart. It has certainly provided me the tools, the support that I need. And I do love the approach of, hey, the next 25 years, we have not arrived. We are going to continue to get stronger and better because when it's the circle of life, right? When a brokerage is investing in agents and putting them first, and then those agents take that and put their clients' needs first and help them, that you're just going to see a continuation of business because people are going to trust that process. You're going to trust that process. You're going to be a better agent out there, better equipped and better support all of that helps you to become your best advocate for that client. So it's just a fantastic approach. I love it. I love your passion for teaching and for making the brokerage better. I've been part of the top 250. I don't know that will always continue because of family transitions and changes, but for the years that
Congratulations.
I have, I want to say to you personally that your involvement in making us better and supporting us and helping us to build as top producers is so valuable and so appreciated. So I
No,
appreciate your time so much, Derek.
thank you. We are honored to work with you. We couldn't be more proud. Congratulations on your consistency in the business. I know that it's not always the easiest business to be in, but when you are consistent and when you truly put people first, as I see you do, it is such a rewarding industry to be in and be a part of. Super thankful as well. I'm thankful to HomeSmart for the opportunity to work with other brokers and just the best agents in the industry every day. So
Okay, so
great.
Derek, if an agent is out there listening and they want to find out more about HomeSmart
Sure.
and they want to reach out to you, where's the best way for that agent to reach out?
So they can visit homesmart.com and select careers, and they can reach out to a local broker or recruiter. I love talking to agents about HomeSmart, and I was speaking to one just yesterday, and she's coming over to HomeSmart from another national brokerage, and we were talking about some of the events we have coming up just here in Georgia for the holidays. And she stopped for a moment and she said, wow, I knew I was making a good move and I knew about A, B, and C, but you just told me even more that HomeSmart offers. And so I do think that it is remarkable that for a company that puts agents first and it's a very agent friendly structure, but you truly have full support, a full brokerage, full marketing behind you. So it's heartwarming to hear those kinds of surprises in agent's voice, but reach out to us. We would absolutely love to talk to you. If you have any questions or concerns, the good, the bad, the ugly, I always say, bring it all to me. I have an open door policy. So always happy to chat with agents, but homesmart.com is a good place to get started for sure.
That's great. And Derek, are you out primarily of the Roswell office, or is there an office location where if somebody wants to talk to you specifically, they can most likely find you?
I am a little bit of everywhere, but Roswell is the office that I'm of the most for sure.
Okay.
But if someone is closer to another office location, because we do have multiple offices around the Atlanta area, I'm always happy to meet them one-on-one. So don't worry about where you're located. We can always meet virtually if we need to. So we'll figure out a way to make it work.
That's great. Derek, thank you for your time today. You brought so much to the table, so much wisdom and experience within that, and just really encourage agents who are in this market, who are in this to really make a difference in other people's lives, to really continue to be adaptable, resilient, incorporate good communication, and really find a brokerage who is going to support you to take you to that next level. And I certainly believe HomeSmart is that brokerage. So Derek, thank you for sharing your time and wisdom today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Wise Move. I hope today's episode provided you with the tools and insights you need to confidently navigate your real estate, community, and life journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and please share this podcast with friends and family who are making their own moves. Stay connected for more real estate insights, and remember, every great move starts with a wise move.